the never-ending story, can an AI acquire consciousness? Still a field of huge controversy and conflicting scientific theories. And yet, the arguments from Burkhard Heim's point of view of a six-dimensional world are not even considered widely. I will investigate some of the remaining loopholes and arguments in this video. Hello and welcome to 6 Dimensions in Color. My name is Schmid, and on this channel I present to you the worldview of Burkhard Heim in understandable language and with clear examples. If you have never heard of Burkhard Heim before, he was an exceptionally gifted German physicist with no hands and hardly any hearing or eyesight. Check out his biography if you want to learn more. His theory has a huge impact on this very topic because it includes a field which is usually well omitted by science: the reality of the paraphysical nature of consciousness phenomena, meaning that nothing about life and living experience is in any way emergent or epistemic to inanimate matter, but having a reality of its own. In my previous video about the consciousness versus AI topic, I tried to show what the main objection from the point of view of a six-dimensional world is. That is, a universe which includes a transcendent reality of consciousness and psychic phenomena. The conclusion, in short, there isn't the faintest possibility that what we today have as AIs can integrate into a whole. In the framework of a six-dimensional world, there needs to be a stable pathway of structural transformations, something Burkhard Heim called activity streams. These require certain physical conditions to dock onto a physical body. These conditions are met in every single living cell, or rather in every single living piece of DNA, but not ever in silicon computer chips. Again, these activity streams are something physically real. They are not epistemic. That means no matter how high the computational power of OpenAI's or other of these players' data centers, they remain impure silicon. They run on impure silicon and there will be nothing emerging from it. Certainly no AGI, artificial general intelligence. I honor all the great sci-fi works of different authors who took the subject into consideration and made thrilling stories from it, but for the time being, with what we have, they remain just like that, stories and kind of modern Frankenstein myths. But what if we were to use other means for computation? Let's first talk about so-called DNA computers. As far back as 1994, scientists succeeded in building a computer which consisted of specifically encoded DNA molecules. The coding of these DNA molecules enabled to perform a computation just by these molecules being together. The speed of this computation is abysmally low, but in principle, it could perform anything that is computable at all. And if we have DNA, then could this DNA bear home to a coherent photon field, which provides the base point, the syntropode, as Heim put it, for a transcendent entity? Yes, from the point of 6D physics, this would be possible. The more interesting question is, would it be psychologically possible? What kind of entity would it be that incarnates in such a physical matrix? It would certainly be a completely different experience from what we are. Essentially, this experience would correspond to something in Burkhard Heim's schematics that has a body of totality 7 and a psyche of totality number 16. It would just be the experience of existing in a stable form, a more or less stable form, not much more. Now, can there be any integration into a whole? And what would such an integration look like? It would mean some form of coordination between different of these DNA computing units and their auxiliary systems. This DNA variant is based on Heim's prediction that there should be a coherent photon field inside of a DNA molecule, a living DNA molecule. This has been confirmed experimentally by Professor Fritz Albert Popp, though it's also not widely recognized in science. But the reason for a photon field being able to provide the matrix, the docking point for an activity stream is this. Photons are essentially massless, and they can easily be manipulated by these activity streams because that's what they essentially do. They manipulate probabilities. Any other mass particle is not suitable because the transcendent terms are just not powerful enough to move against its inertia, simply speaking. There's another hopeful candidate for a technical system which might provide the basis of consciousness, at least according to sci-fi, and that's of course a quantum computer. What does a quantum computer do? Essentially, it measures and manipulates so-called qubits, that is, single quantum objects. In most quantum computers which are built today, these qubits are single super-cold atoms. Though there's also research going on and prototypes being built that use single photons as qubits. Considering what I said above, you already know the answer. In the case of massive qubits, this wouldn't work either. It would even be worse because these atoms are much more massive than the electrons which are flying around in silicon. So what about photon qubits? A photon qubit might indeed provide a physical matrix for a coupling with a transcendent activity stream and thus a transcendent entity. The question is, would this coupling be stable as it would be required for something that is truly alive? And here's the question, because DNA has certain properties which the qubit traps in a quantum computer has not, at least not like it's built today. One of these might be the helix structure. Maybe it has some meaning for it. But this is a difficulty that might eventually be overcome technically. So let us assume for the moment that a stable coupling between a transcendent activity stream and a photon, either in a DNA molecule or in a quantum computer, is indeed realizable. We still are facing the challenge of the integration into a whole, because we would only have rudimentary units. And here's the big red flag for any way of thinking which presumes that this could be solved by these computing units. Because many leading experts on this field, including neuroscientist Christoph Koch, but also physicist Roger Penrose, they are adamant about one thing: consciousness is not computable, period. I'm linking interviews with both Penrose and Koch here if you want to know some of their arguments. Suffice it to say here, computation with either DNA or photon quantum computers will only bring us forth one single of all the totalities we would need to bridge to reach something that is in any way comparable to what we experience as a conscious being. Now, that's all my arguments. Tell me what you think in the comments, and if you liked this video, of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you feel up to contributing to Heim theory and go in depth into it, I want to invite you to join our Discord server and get into contact with others of the same interest and access to original source material. So, you see, there are still a lot of technical breakthroughs to make, Nobel Prizes to be won and billion-dollar companies to be founded. If you want to upgrade your own mind right up front in this field, I highly recommend that you learn to use the NATHAL method. With NATHAL, you can reproducibly access states of mind in which the whole of human potential and creativity is at your personal disposal. That goes far beyond any common brainstorming or creativity technique. NATHAL is the connection to those inner sources from which spawned all great inventions in science, philosophy, and art. And of course, all the big and small personal breakthroughs which lay on the way. Go to my website and my Instagram channel to learn more. Somehow my own intuition tells me that after trying out a lot of wild things in this area, we will eventually realize this very setup we are having is the best realization of all these principles we will discover. Scientists have already made one step into that direction, and that's yet topic for another video. But accepting the transcendent nature of reality, of our very being, will enable us to become true and responsible creators in 6 dimensions and in color.